I know we definitely addressed this one in a big segment that we have called the Call of Christ coming up. But Unleashed Graphics says, why does it seem Hollywood is releasing so many biblical historical movies in this decade? Movies such as the Bible, Exodus, Gods in Egypt, but then have the nerve to use all white or mostly white casting. I know the answer, but I'd just like to hear Mr. Wood speak on it. That man is the real IMDb.
We're going to talk about, I speak about the color of Christ.
Okay, so we'll go in depth with that one.
But just to reemphasize, the image of Christ as a white person is the way you can control people. Machiavelli in The Prince says it's good to be loved, but it's safer to be feared. Through film, the powers that be, okay? Because a lot of times we will say the white man. That's not the way to put it. The white power structure that is in charge of this dominant culture, the way you control a people is you make them see you as a god. And when you have this sense of who God is, you fear God, you love God as well. And through film, that technology, that constant filmic imagery of the white man as a god, that has indoctrinated and oppressed people of color all over the globe. And that's why it's done.
Jonesy Garcia. Now, these are generalizations, but let's see if we can work with it. I would like to know the following. What is the meaning of more homosexuality, especially white, in modern films, and elaborate about it? What is this new phenomenon where white females are like the shot caller in the movies nowadays? Why is the black man always the bearer of bad news or one to do the dirty jobs?
I'm not fully, if
it's not necessarily specific enough. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but here's the thing. There were 3 basic taboos in motion pictures. Black and white sex, miscegenation, homosexuality, and the one that's very, very taboo. You know what that is?
I would say hurting of children.
Child pornography.
Yeah.
Okay? There's a film I told you I want to see. When the word got out that Dakota Fanning.
Oh, Hound Dog.
Hound Dog, right? That's the thing that killed that film. This
promiscuous preteen.
Oh, as a child, she was exploited in that. You know, what little I see, and I told you I got to see that film. But homosexuality and miscegenation are now 2 former taboos that have been shattered. Okay, homosexuality. You look at all the TV shows now. They know there's a homosexual demographic out there. Now they're putting images on films. Rosewood. I don't know if that's coming back, but his sister's involved in a homosexual relationship. What's the show? Lee Daniels show, Empire. You know, so it's no longer a taboo. So movies, TV, what's the word? They have to be commodified. What's your demographics? Homosexuality is, we just had the laws passed. If you love people, you can marry who you love. That's the world we live in. So that's why these films are popular.
Right. Now, I don't know if you've seen any of these shows, but he wanted to know if you could comment on Person of Interest. It's a TV show.
No, no,
Billionaire.
no.
Creed, the movie.
Creed I saw.
Okay.
Okay.
Any thoughts about it? Or?
For me, Creed has a touch of, there's a trope. You have many people attribute
Well, before you get in there, did you like it? That's the first thing.
I was entertained. I liked it.
Okay,
I
good.
liked it.
All right.
I like Jordan.
Okay, might be Jordan. Yeah, he's getting a lot of plays here.
Yeah, I like Jordan. But there's a touch of some white savior in that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But what works for Creed is what they do. An idea for a film is pitched. People sit down and say, okay, now how can we commodify it? Okay. Mm-hmm. You want to promote the son of Creed? Okay, that's great. But how can we bring the white person in for that white demographic? So we bring in Stallone. We have a relationship between the two of them. And it works. I'll tell you what also is in there that we're going to talk about. Mm-hmm. The love interest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's a little biracial.
Uh-oh.
A little bit biracial there. Okay, so we'll get into our skin color. You want to stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed, if you're still entertained by this, definitely subscribe. I guess also people want to know how to get in touch with you. So we've set up an email account out of the Woods, THA Woods at Reelblack.com, where you can send messages directly to Mr. Woods, and he'll get back to you in time. I mean, you're a busy man. You're
right
busy.
Quick, let me give a shout out to all the people who remember me from the 43rd Chamber. You creep out there, Pierre. Waverly.
You look in the lens.
Yeah, Waverly. Rich. Great hearing from you guys. I'll be talking to you. Let me tell you, Mike can tell you, I've gone through some issues. I just lost thousands and thousands of books and films and stuff, but I'm trying to recoup. But I just had to come see Mike, and we wanted to give a shout out to you guys. You guys have been wonderful.
Now, continuing on. Well, we're going to talk about the new Star Wars in depth, so we're not going to go there. But Hateful Eight, did you get a chance to see
No, I didn't get to see the Hateful Eight yet.
Yeah, it's coming. Well, Tarantino.
You kind of told me that it's long.
There's two versions. it's long. I mean, I liked it, but there's a little technology there, in that Tarantino, when he doesn't use white characters to provide agency for the black hero, he will do something to emasculate the black hero. And he did that with Ving Rhames in Pulp Fiction, memorably. And he does something very similar, literally emasculate, not to spoil anything, to one of the black characters in, I guess it's the only black character, I guess spoiled it. but Sam Jackson is good in the film, but Tarantino is up to his old tricks. But it's, if you like Tarantino, go see it. If you have issues with Tarantino, you're still going to have issues with Tarantino.
Can I say something quick about Tarantino and Jackson?
Sure.
Tarantino used to come by the shop. He gave the store credit when he did Kill Bill.
Okay.
And Sam, back in the day, we didn't even know he was in line waiting to get up to get some films. Okay. And Sam was great.
Yeah, a definite New Yorker, and
yeah,
pitchman for what is the credit card? I need. What's in your wallet? I need some credit cards, Sam. See if we can hook a brother up. Yeah. All right, so 44 Mother. It says, love the information. Look forward to seeing you more. I'd like to see the discussion on 1, blacks in relation to the infamous casting couch. 2, does Black Hollywood look out for one another? Are there true hookups? 3, the angry black woman. 4, subliminal messages showing blacks in inferior or demeaning scenes, situations, and circumstances. I've noticed the only time I see a young black male, a teen male in a commercial, he is usually friends doing some physical activity and rarely interacting positively with an older adult black male. Black families in commercials seem to be separated in different rooms, and there seems to be a dilemma. So it's kind of a generalization, but let's take them one by one. Do you have any blacks in relation to the casting couch?
I think I said this before. When we were coming up, we had the production code.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in an era where Lucy and Ricky Ricardo, they couldn't even sleep in the same bed.
Mm-hmm.
And so there used to be the old joke. People are doing on screen what they used to have to do off screen to get on screen.
So I guess there still is a casting couch.
Yes.
Is and always been. Does Black Hollywood look out for one another? Are there true hookups?
There is some looking out for each other. I mentioned how proud I was of Eddie Murphy when he stood up for one of the actresses who was being humiliated on the set of Coming to America.
Mm-hmm.
And he told the director, "Hey, enough of this. Don't disrespect this actress." Sadly, I don't think this actress has ever worked again. It's one of the actresses when Eddie Murphy's character's in the water getting a royal cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember that scene?
Yeah, and Coming to America. Yeah.
Coming to America. And Eddie stood up for her. As I said,
and he's hooked some people up. I mean, he's not as many as people would have liked, but I mean, certainly Chris Rock and the Hudlin brothers, the Wayans brothers,
Yeah.
Keenan Wayans especially, got put on early on by
yeah, as I said,
and Spike certainly has helped a lot of people.
Richard Roundtree helped Sheila Fraser get her part in Superfly.
Yeah, and I think, coming from Sundance, I think it's changing. I think people really are, the market's opened up to the point where it's not just one person at a time anymore that's breaking through, and I think people are starting to share information about the deals. I mean, all the deals are horrible, in terms of getting distribution for films, but people are still making films. But I think there's more of a network building in terms of, they're not necessarily going to create opportunities for you, but if you have something to bring to the table, I think that people like, I guess Forrest Whitaker would be a prime example of somebody who, had his eye on the guy who did Creed. Director. No, the director.
Oh, did
Ryan Coogler.
Ryan Coogler. Yeah.
Ryan Coogler was the top student at USC, and he had 2 or 3 films play at the Cannes Film Festival. So he just called Ryan in for a regular meeting and said, "Well, what projects would you like to do?" Because he had access to $2 or $3 million to make a movie, and they came up with Fruitvale Station. So, without Fruitvale Station, you don't have Creed, you don't have Sylvester Stallone being nominated this year for an Academy Award. So I think there are people in positions of power that are helping other people have access.
Classic example of
And Oprah with Selma, with Ava DuVernay.
Classic example also is how you have a number of the black actors and let's say some directors who will be a part of a film and waive their normal fee. Okay? So they have the name, they bring in the name, but they're not asking for what they, there's a scale.
Right.
A lot of times, it's, okay, give me just the scale, but I'll be a part of it, I'll help, and that means a lot.
Let's see. Sina Hilbert. I'm super excited about this series coming back. I've been so enlightened. A few topics I'd love for you guys to cover. One, the Oscars, the exclusion of minorities on the voting committee. We did a whole segment on the Oscars, which will be very soon. The 3 images of black women in film that Melissa Perry Harris referred to in her book Sister Citizen: the mammy, the oversexed woman, and the angry black woman. And then the third, she's got 4 points. The white hero in movies like Blind Side and Help, to a degree that always depict the white people as a savior to impoverished blacks. And then Matt Damon's recent comment on the HBO show Project Greenlight, where she says diversity needs to be showcased on the screen, not behind it. How expansive is the lack of diversity behind the screen?
Well, as I think in one of the clips we just did, um, I make a point that we have to find ways to come together. Let's not talk boycott, let's talk action. Come together, come to the table, and find a way we can pool our resources. We have an aggregate wealth, our celebrities alone, in the billions. And find a way where we can be more involved in controlling our image, the filmic representation of blacks in film. That's what we need to be more engaged in. But
the three images, well, we're going to go in
yeah,
depth with that.
well,
but
basically you have, you know, the trope of the black woman as either a Beulah or a bitch, you know. And I'll kind of touch on this with the color thing. It seems like the darker the black actress, she's more the bitch type, the bossy type. Or if we have the corporal black woman, she's the mammy earth mother type. And then the lighter the black actresses are now, they get more of the romantic roles, you know, and that's the popular images of blacks. Sadly, you know, I was mentioning to you, I looked at the wealth of the black actors and the black actresses. What disparity! You know, you see people like the black actors that they're in like $40-50 million range, and some of your more well-known your more well-known black actresses, they're around the 10 million mark. If you know, that's high for a lot of them. And so you say, wow, what's the reason for this? It's because, you know, basically what you're seeing is black actors, and then if they have a romantic interest, it's rarely a black woman anymore. You know, it's
That's true.
Either they put them with a white actress, a biracial actress, or a Hispanic actress. And that's sad.
Well, it leads to Dr. James Sutton. He says, is diversity the new buzzword for desegregation? When I look at the tapestry of African Americans in America, we are diverse. What does the power brokers mean by diversity?
Diversity is something they're forced to deal with because one of the terms that's being bandied about now is the browning of America. Okay, that's the reality, and as I said earlier, it's a reality some folk can't deal with because it's scary. You know, when we see finally a black president, and a black president with a black wife, this is scary. It's just scary because the first time they thought it was an accident, they were in shock when he got back in. Yeah.
And one thing, you know, I said on the radio, you know, when Hollywood talks about diversity, they also include women and white women. So, which is very important because they're definitely neglected in terms of these statistics as well. But you know, but when we hear diversity, we think, oh, more inclusion of black people in general. But it's actually, when Hollywood looks at it, they're trying to get more people of color as well as women into those figures. So,
well, that's interesting because years ago when they did a study to see if finally, as a consequence of all the complaints, were their numbers increasing in film and TV. And so they had a study come out. It was called window dressing on the TV set. But there was another term that alludes to what you're saying. It was called black women represented what was called the double whammy. They fit two categories, black and female.
So I had to get that. Well, speaking of black and female, Zara says, "Hi, Mr. Woods. I'd like to know more about black female roles during the exploitation era and today. Has there been any change? Were there any differences in the portrayal of light and dark-skinned black women in exploitation movies? In your opinion, who was the prettiest dark-skinned woman actress of your time? Who was the earliest black female writer, director, and producer?"
Well, for me, the black actress I fell in love with was Judi Pace. Dark, beautiful, and the only thing I hated about Judi Pace's roles, they always put her opposite a white actor. Okay, so I'm just crazy with this beautiful black woman, and then I have to see her being in a situation where some white guy's making love to her in Three in the Attic, Up in the Cellar. She was teasing the white cop in Cotton Comes to Harlem. And that's the thing that peeved me off. But Judi Pace was one. Another dark actress who I loved was Lola Falana. And they did the same thing with her. And they did the same thing with another beautiful dark actress, Brenda Sykes. Oh my gosh. Another beauty. So in answering the question, the dark actress in these kind of sexual roles, that came about during the late 60s and the early 70s, when there was this black exploitation, black militancy, black is beautiful era. Once that was gone, it went back to the light-skinned actress. That's what we're going to talk about. Yeah. You take, for example, and to speak more to some of the questions this viewer's asking, you take someone like Marky Bay, a light-skinned actress.
From Philadelphia.
Yes. Now, Marky Bay, she's someone who had a very difficult look because she was not dark enough to be accepted as black, and she's not white. She's sort of the so-called tragic mulatto, fitting into the mold that Dorothy Dandridge was caught in. But when the blaxploitation, black power phrase was big, that sentiment, Marky Bay herself had this comment: "Someone like me, it's hard to find film work because they're only hiring actors and actresses who look like they just got off the slave ship." There is a film that has been discovered that is the film that was directed by a black woman, and the film is
Hellbound Train by Eloise Gist. I believe she's the first black woman to make a film, and I think she made several films. One of them, Hellbound Train, has just been restored for Blu-ray. It's going to be part of the Pioneers of African American Cinema collection from Kino Blu-ray, and they're going to do screenings in February and March in New York, and then the Blu-ray will be out later in 2016. So.
If this person wanted to see it, where would they go, Mike?
You go to Amazon and you get that Pioneers of African American film, Blu-ray or DVD.
Isn't it going to be shown?
Yeah, but by the time this airs, it may have already passed.
Oh, okay.
But if you're in New York, look for it. It's going to be at the Film Forum in February 2016.
So
Hellbound Train.
Did we answer all her questions?
Yeah, I think we're down to the last question. I guess it's not really a question, it's more a statement from Raina Productions. Please don't do a history lesson. Go forward. New black films, actors, directors, reviews, trailers, when and where they're playing, theaters or platforms. We know the problems. Let's talk solutions.
Well, you know what? I read that comment.
Mm-hmm.
That person is so on the money. And this is what I'm saying. Why are we talking boycott? Mm-hmm. All the money we have people looking at us, people outside of our community, saying all they ever do is complain.
Right.
They have the power. We have the power. Adam Clayton Powell said years ago, look in your hands. The power is in your hands. The power is in our hands. When are we going to come together and make the films we need to make and control the images about us? Why are we going to continue being in a system that is not about us and then be upset when the product is still what someone else wants it to be about us? Hey, we got to be about ourselves and find ways to change that dynamic.
Right on. And, if for those who are new to the channel, I know there are a lot of folks that are new to the channel. We've been doing this since 2007. We've been interviewing filmmakers that I feel are at the forefront of the new black film revolution and trying to provide content that's unique, that you're not going to find anywhere else in terms of information about new filmmakers, stories behind the films. For me, it's all about the history. It's like, we live in a world where if it's not written down, it therefore never existed in some ways. Mm-hmm. But now that we do have the power, as you say, to document ourselves and tell our own stories, I do my best to use my time not making movies about sitting on the toilet or whatever, but to really help catapult and elevate and shine light on stuff. But I also feel that the reason why your videos are so important to the channel, and we have at least a dozen more clips coming in the next few months, is that it's illuminating our past and our history. It's allowing us to see the patterns in the images that we're seeing. What we're saying about is, you are what you eat.
Yes, there's the old expression, you are what you eat, and it's got nothing to do with food. You are what you eat means you are a product of your environment. You hang out with eagles, you'll become an eagle. Change your mindset, change your perception. Be about something. Don't talk about it, be about it. And can I say something?
Yeah, wrap it up.
You are doing a wonderful thing with Reelblack, and I applaud you. And I want to let people know that, as you say, you're not putting stuff out there to get views with someone sitting on the toilet and saying, I'm on the toilet, I saw that, it was 60 million views.
Yeah, I wish we had as many views as a sitting on the toilet woman, but it is what it is.
But the whole thing is, there's a lot of work Mike has to do to put in that. Someone said, oh, what I love about these clips is they're supporting it with evidence. And Mike has to do that work, and he does it so well. And Mike, with Reelblack, he's trying to bring about a dynamic where we're saying, yes, we should have film, not necessarily that says black is beautiful or black is this, black, but something that says something progressive, something enlightening about who we are. And we're a diverse people. There's no monolithic thought with blacks. Let's get the whole story. Let's not just get caught up in minstrelsy, new or old, women being abused. Let's take it and give it the levels it deserves. And this is beautiful.
Okay, so if you enjoyed this, I'm going to close this up. If you enjoyed this video, if you sat through it all, I mean, it was like a marathon session. But we got to most of the questions. Somebody asked about Straight Outta Compton. Any thoughts real quick on, did you see that?
I didn't get to see Straight Outta Compton yet.
Okay.
No.
All right, well, we got to get you the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So if you have any thoughts or comments after seeing this video, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And next time around, we'll answer your questions again. And make sure that you stay tuned. Check in every week. Beginning in the next couple weeks, we'll have new videos basically every other week for the next 6 months. That's how much work we've done the last 2 days.
Wow.
So, all right. Thanks.
Peace
Thanks.
and blessing.